Alright, so I just got done playing the Realism game mode in Call of Duty Modern Warfare's open beta, and I have to say, I'm very impressed. I didn't expect much going in, but upon playing it, it really does scratch almost Insurgency-style itch. Now, a lot of you probably haven't played Insurgency, but I recommend you look up footage of Insurgency or Insurgency Sandstorm, just so you kind of see the kind of vibe I got from the game. The first thing that really stood out to me is how much of an impact one-shot headshots makes in a game mode like this. You know, if this was just normal hardcore mode from previous Call of Duty games, then everybody would just have 30 health, making every weapon more lethal. In the Realism mode here in Modern Warfare, we have a game mode where headshots are required for one-shot kills unless you're using a sniper rifle or shotgun. Now, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it has the normal damage numbers from the base like core modes, but with the added one-shot headshot mechanic. Maybe there's reduced health and I don't know, but I do know that it still takes 3 or 4 shots to kill with an SMG unless you hit a headshot. This game mode has no hit markers, and instead you need to look at the blood that flies out of the enemy that you're shooting, the small hit marker like sound, and also the fact that the person you're shooting is probably going to scream. There's absolutely no UI except for being able to see your teammates' names and little dots through walls, which I'm personally okay with. That makes it a little easier to play solo. It's nice that the developers didn't expect you to have an entire squad to play this game mode with, so you're all coordinating together and everything. And no, it's cool that I can see where my randoms are when I'm playing by myself. The reason I've picked on hardcore mode so much on this channel is because hardcore mode, in my opinion, doesn't have an actual meta. Pistols can 1 to 2 shot across maps, sniper rifles become irrelevant because I can just tap you with an ACOG assault rifle, and while some people love that and I can have fun with it as well, I just don't think it's actually hardcore. In fact, hardcore in a lot of cases for me just kind of feels like easy mode. Now, that isn't to say that this game mode in Modern Warfare is actually realistic, but it's definitely a lot more satisfying because you have to land a headshot to get those coveted one-shot kills. Meaning you could throw an ACOG on your MP5 and post up in a window and mount your weapon, and then see somebody running across the bridge or something and tap them once and get a headshot. Or you're going to have to put a lot of rounds into their body. Not a lot, 3, 4, maybe 5 if they're through cover, depending on how your MP5 is set up. But I like that. That means there's a skill gap and there's still a meta, and it really does matter what weapon you're using. I can't just one-tap you in the chest with an MP5 from across the fucking map. If I'm not accurate, I don't get to kill you immediately. This also is kind of funny because even though head glitchers will have an advantage, because head glitchers will always have an advantage when they're head glitching, being able to just land a single shot on a head glitcher when all you can see is their head and immediately taking them out of the game is great. I'm not going to pretend this is like a realistic, tactical, super hardcore, the most skill-based thing in the world, but it's such a great change of pace. Because of no minimap and all the UI elements are gone, the game slows way down. Every shot counts, and speccing your weapons for accuracy and long range is very useful, and you can also throw people off by being way more aggressive than you normally would. One of the biggest problems with this beta though is that they didn't give us access to Dead Silence. I really want to test out the Dead Silence field upgrade. I think it would have been great for this game mode, because rushing people, they don't expect it, but they will if they hear your, footsteps running up on them. Anyway, now there are 3 things I would do to the Realism mode to make it better. First thing I would do is make it so that if I hold X, I can see how much ammo is left in my magazine. You don't have to have a special animation for it or anything, I just want to know how many rounds are in my magazine. Just show me a little number in the corner of the screen that lets me know how many rounds I have. When I go to respawn, don't give me the overhead view that allows me to see where enemies and teammates are, because that kind of defeats the purpose of taking away all those UI elements if I can just spawn in and as I'm spawning in go, oh shit, there's a dude that's right around this corner, and then go and kill him. Also, I think they should have 50% or 25% friendly fire, so you can still damage your teammates, but it's unlikely that you're going to accidentally just kill your teammates right out. I think after you've shot teammates with a certain number of rounds, I believe then you should be given reverse friendly fire, similar to Siege, because you should be punished for being careless, especially when you can see the little blue dots of your teammates running around through walls. So if you hear footsteps and you don't look around to see if it's one of your teammates, that's on you. So if they catch you by surprise and you shoot them in the face with a shotgun, you should get punished. I think that would cement this game mode as a little bit more realistic, a little bit more hardcore, a little bit more unforgiving. But I have to say, it's one of the most satisfying experiences I've had in a while, and it definitely gives me Insurgency vibes. There's something about seeing somebody crawling around in one of the parts of the map, behind a fence or behind a wall. You see a little bit of their hat or helmet come over the wall, and then you take them out. Like, there's something so satisfying about that. All your weapons don't just happen to one-shot, you have to be accurate, and that's fun. The one thing I did consider is that maybe weapons that have vertical recoil will be overpowered because you can shoot at somebody's chest and kick up to their head, but I don't really worry about that because that's kind of how weapons in Call of Duty and other shooters work anyway. If it has vertical recoil, you can get headshots from it. That's how it works in Siege even. And also, like, if it was hardcore mode and everybody just had 30% health, it wouldn't matter anyway because you just one-shot everybody and it would be kind of lame. One-shotting everybody is flat. Having to one-shot headshot is satisfying, and I feel rewarded for being accurate or taking my time and being slower, and that's what it should be. That should be the breaking up of the pace. Now, some people think that the pace in normal core modes is too slow and too campy already, and I know that a lot of people aren't liking the realism mode from the fact that I have not seen whole teams rage quit before until I played the realism mode. It's slow, it's campy, it's methodical, and during the night modes, I imagine that realism is going to be very, very intense, slow, and methodical, and nobody's going to want to get shot, so people are going to play slowly and campy. In my opinion, the core modes don't play that slowly, they don't play too campy in my mind. It's more slow than other COD games, but it's, you know, honestly, I don't mind it. Especially factoring in the fact that people haven't learned the maps yet still, so they're cautious and they don't really want to run out and die constantly, so yeah, they're playing conservatively. In the realism mode, you don't have a lot of intel, so you even want to play more cautiously, but one of the things I love about it is that it makes certain things more useful than they would be in other game modes. For instance, the guy that gets on the radio and lets you know if your kill streak hit anything, where they say like no joy or good hits on target, that becomes useful because otherwise you wouldn't really know if you got those kills unless you were looking at the scoreboard the entire time the streak was being called in. Switching your weapon to semi-auto is more important for landing headshots and tap-firing people at a distance. All of the great audio cues in this game and tracers and vapor trails behind bullets are all incredibly important. Listening to the sounds of enemies dying, mounting your weapon on cover for less recoil, slow peeking doors as to not give away your location all become a lot more useful, doable, and I think that's great. Because some of those mechanics just kind of go unappreciated in a normal, fast-paced core game mode, and then here, they're very useful. So if they do the changes I talked about when it comes to the top-down view when spawning, checking the ammo in your magazine, a little bit of friendly fire, we have a game mode that I'm going to hop on quite often. Even in its current state in the beta, I really like it. It's a lot of fun. I don't think I could play it all the time. I do prefer like the core Call of Duty game modes, but this is like really fun as a change of pace. And I think it'd be fun to go for pistol camos and stuff in this compared to hardcore, because then I have to land headshots with my pistol to get one-shots, and I think that's exciting. I think that's fun. You also have a little bit more tension in the realism mode because sometimes you don't know if someone you shot is dead. You don't know if they were killed. You don't know if you got the kill. I've had a couple times where I shoot somebody like 3 or 4 times, and then they get around a corner, and I don't know if they died around that corner, like they just died just before I could, see them collapse, or I don't know. In fact, I shot somebody and I thought that they proned, but it turned out that I had killed them. So I don't know, it makes you think differently about COD. It's slower, it's more methodical. If you hate that, then you won't like the game mode. But if you're into that, this is definitely your game mode, and I thoroughly enjoy it, and I'm going to play it over hardcore any day. Unless there's a really hard weapon challenge to complete, and then I'll go into hardcore, because hardcore is just easier to abuse. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you when I see you, and that's what I'm going to leave you with. Modern Warfare's realism mode is just hardcore mode that's not as easy to abuse. See you when I see you. Goodbye.